Bumpy Johnson pushed the plate of ribs across table 7. June 10th, 1963, 11:52 p.m. Small's Paradise, 135th and 7th Avenue, Harlem.
Marcus Smooth Henderson sat frozen, fork trembling in his right hand, sweat beading on his forehead. 38 years old, cream-colored suit now damp at the collar, 3 diamond rings catching the dim club lights. The man who'd betrayed Bumpy 11 years ago. The man who'd stolen $2 million in policy bank revenue while Bumpy counted days in Alcatraz, 2,814 miles from New York. "I said eat," Bumpy repeated. His hand moved to his waistband, where the straight razor rested, the same blade he'd carried since 1935. "This is your last meal." 270 people in the restaurant that night, everyone watching table 7, everyone about to witness what happens when you betray a king. What nobody knew, what history books won't tell you, is that Bumpy Johnson had been planning this exact moment since 1954. 9 years, 4 months, 17 days of waiting. And what happened in the next 14 minutes didn't just destroy one traitor. It kept the Genovese family out of Harlem for the next decade. To understand what happened at table 7, you need to understand what Marcus Henderson stole. Bumpy Johnson got arrested for conspiracy. Federal prosecutors wanted him gone. 15 years in Alcatraz. Before the marshals took him away, Bumpy pulled Smooth aside at the Cotton Club, 142nd Street and Lenox Avenue. The young hustler from 118th Street he'd mentored since 1947. 5 years of teaching him the numbers game, protecting him from Vincent the Chin Gigante's crew, treating him like blood. "Hold things together," Bumpy said. "Send $500 to Mamie every month. Keep the 5 policy banks running. Keep 42 men on payroll. I'll be back." For 2 years, Smooth did exactly that. Ran the policy banks, sent money to Bumpy's wife, protected 125 Street from Italian encroachment. Then, January 14th, 1954, changed everything. 3 men in Italian suits knocked on Smooth's door, black Cadillac idling outside, engine running. Dead eyes that had buried 73 people between them. "Mr. Genovese wants a conversation." Smooth knew Vito Genovese, the boss trying to take over every racket from Brooklyn to the Bronx. He should have said no. He got in the car. Little Italy, Mulberry Street. Social club with no name on the door. Vito sat in the back eating cannoli, didn't look up. "Bumpy's in Alcatraz," Genovese said. "Alcatraz means never coming back. So here's the offer. Tell me where his policy banks are. Tell me which cops he owns. Tell me where the cash houses hide. You keep 125th Street. Pay us 20% weekly. Get rich." He paused. "Or get buried. Your choice." Smooth sat there thinking about Bumpy locked in a cell on an island. Thinking about Mamie struggling on $500 monthly. Thinking about his own survival. 30 days to gather everything, Smooth said. Genovese smiled. 20. By March 1954, the Genovese family controlled every policy bank Bumpy had built, knew every cop on the payroll. Raided every cash house at 126, 131st, 139th, and 144th Streets. Marcus Henderson kept 125th Street for himself. Within 9 years, he wore $400 Italian suits, drove a midnight blue Cadillac Eldorado, had a penthouse at Mount Morris Park overlooking Central Park, ran 5 policy banks generating $2.1 million annually. Every Tuesday and Friday, 9 p.m., he held court at Small's Paradise. Table 7. Back corner, French cognac in crystal glasses. Best ribs in New York City. For 11 years, he slept peacefully until June 7th, 1963. Bumpy Johnson walked out of Alcatraz at 6 a.m. carrying a paper bag, 3 shirts, 2 pairs of pants, $47 in prison wages. And the straight razor. But here's what Marcus Henderson never knew. Bumpy had learned about the betrayal 3 weeks after it happened.
February 6, 1954. A letter reached Bumpy in Alcatraz. Stephanie St. Clair, the queen of numbers, 5660, 2 years old, eyes like a hawk.
She had informants in every Italian social club, from Mulberry Street to Arthur Avenue.
The letter was coded. Simple.
Direct. The garden on 125th was sold.
The buyer wore a cream suit. The price was everything you planted. Bumpy sat in his cell reading it. He could have sent word. One letter. One coded message. Smooth would have disappeared into the East River within 72 hours. But that would have started a war. Genovese would have sent 80 men into Harlem.
Blood in the streets. His people caught in the crossfire.
So Bumpy waited. Let Smooth build his empire on stolen foundation. Let him get comfortable. Let him forget that some debts compound interest. 9 years, 4 months, 17 days of planning. June 9th, 1963, 11 p.m. Bumpy arrived in New York. Took a cab from Penn Station directly to 145th Street. Junie Bird was waiting. 63 years old, gray-haired, hands steady as a surgeon's, loyal since 1939. "Give me names," Bumpy said. Junie had tracked everything. 15 men who'd carved up Bumpy's empire. But one name made Bumpy's jaw tighten.
Marcus gave them everything in 54. Policy banks at 126th, 131st, 139th, 144th.
Cops, including Captain Morris and Sergeant DeVito, kept Mamie's money. All $66,000 over 11 years. Bumpy pulled out the razor. Unfolded it slowly. 8 inches of carbon steel, edge sharp enough to split hair. The same blade that had killed Dutch Schultz's enforcer in a Bronx warehouse. The same steel that convinced Lucky Luciano to negotiate in 1946. Where does he eat? Small's Paradise. Every Friday, 9 p.m. Table 7. 4 bodyguards. 6'2", 6'4". Both over 240 pounds. Bumpy tested the razor's edge with his thumb. Drew a single drop of blood. "Get me table 8, Bumpy said. "Right beside him." "You gonna kill him?" "No." Bumpy folded the razor, returned it to his waistband. "I'm gonna make 270 people watch him bleed." Friday, June 10th, 8:47 p.m. Bumpy walked into Small's Paradise, wearing the same charcoal suit he'd worn on the train from California. Shoes scuffed, no tie. He looked like Harlem's ghost stepping into its present. Conversations shifted. Eyes tracked him. Old-timers recognized him instantly. "That's Bumpy Johnson. Thought he died in Alcatraz. Got out Monday. Table 8. Junie Bird already there. Willie Fish Jackson, 6'1", scar across his left eyebrow, beside him. Raymond Quick Lewis, former Golden Gloves boxer, hands like sledgehammers. Bumpy sat back to the wall. Trademark fedora, on the table beside an untouched glass of Hennessy. At exactly 9 p.m., Marcus Henderson walked in. Back at Small's Paradise, 11:52 p.m., table 7. Smooth had arrived late. Burgundy tie loosened, gold Rolex showing 11:52. 4 bodyguards flanking him like palace guards. Then he saw Bumpy, 20 feet away, watching. Blood drained from Smooth's face. His lead bodyguard, thick-necked enforcer named Leon, 6'4", 260 pounds, noticed the change. "Mr. Henderson, Marcus," Bumpy said quietly. Voice carried across the restaurant like a blade through silk. "Sit with me." Leon's hand moved to his waistband. So did the other 3 bodyguards. Junie Bird stood up. The .45 automatic in his hand ended that movement. Willie produced a sawed-off shotgun. "Quick!" Had a revolver pointed at Leon's chest. The restaurant froze. 270 people. Jazz trio stopped mid-note. Conversations died mid-sentence. Waiters backed toward the kitchen. "Tell your boys to leave," Bumpy said.
Smooth's hands trembling.
"Go." "Boss, we can't. I said go," before bodyguards backed toward the door. "Eyes on the guns." They left Smooth alone. Bumpy gestured to the chair. "Sit." Marcus Henderson sat. Bumpy signaled the waiter. Young kid, maybe 19, approached like walking to the electric chair. "Ribs. The good ones. 2 bourbons." The waiter ran. 270 people frozen. Watching table 7 like it was Broadway opening night. Food came. Plate of ribs, still steaming, glazed with sauce that cost Small's Paradise $200 weekly to make. 2 glasses of bourbon, amber liquid, catching the light. Bumpy pushed the plate forward. "Eat." Smooth stared at the ribs. "I'm not hungry." "Eat. This is your last meal." Smooth understood then. This wasn't negotiation. "Bumpy, please." "I had to survive. You gave them my banks." Bumpy's voice quiet. Calm. More terrifying than shouting. Told them where the cash houses were. 126th Street. 131st. 139th. 144th. Which cops I owned. Captain Morris. Sergeant Vito. Then you kept Mamie's money. $66,000 over 11 years. Tears on Smooth's face now. I was gonna make it right. I've been home since Monday. You didn't come. I'll give it all back. I don't want it back from you. I'm taking it back from you. There's a difference. Bumpy's hand came out of his waistband. The straight razor. 8 inches of carbon steel. Carried since 1935. Killed 16 men. Bumpy unfolded it slowly. The steel caught the restaurant lights. Every person in Small's Paradise saw it. 270 witnesses watching. Romans made traitors eat their last meal in public, Bumpy said. Conversational. Like discussing weather. Then executed them, where everyone could see. Smooth, hyperventilating. Eyes locked on the blade. I'm not Caesar, Bumpy continued, but I am Harlem. He stood up, voice carried to every corner. Some of you forgot who built this. Forgot you don't steal from a king. He looked at Smooth. Marcus forgot. Smooth tried to run. Junie behind him instantly, gun pressed to spine. Stand. Smooth stood, legs shaking violently. Bumpy walked around the table, face to face with the man who'd betrayed him. Then, with 270 people watching, Bumpy raised the razor to Smooth's throat. Not to kill, to mark. 1 cut. Left cheek. 2 inches long, not deep. Just enough to scar. Just enough so every person in Harlem would know Marcus Henderson as the man who betrayed Bumpy Johnson. Smooth screamed. Blood ran down his face, staining his cream suit, dripping onto his $300 Italian shoes. Every time you look in a mirror, Bumpy said, you'll see that. Every person who sees you will know. He folded the razor. Clean. Calm. 24 hours to leave Harlem. Take what you can carry. Bumpy turned to the restaurant. Bumpy Johnson is back. The rules haven't changed. Pay what you owe. Keep your word. Protect your people. He walked toward the door. Stopped. Genevieve's family's got 2 weeks. Everything north of 110th Street. Tell Vito. Bumpy Johnson walked out at 11:58 p.m., left Marcus Henderson bleeding at table 7. Left 270 witnesses who would spread the story by sunrise. By 6 a.m., every hustler in Harlem knew. The king was back. Marcus Henderson was on a Greyhound to Philadelphia by noon Saturday. Never returned to New York. That 2-inch scar followed him 34 years until he died in 1997, age 72. Every time someone asked, he lied. Car accident, shaving mishap, anything but the truth. Within 72 hours, 3 other men who'd carved up Bumpy's territory disappeared. Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago, running scared. The Genovese family sent a captain on day 13. Meeting at Small's Paradise. Lasted 4 minutes. 2 weeks, Bumpy said. You got 1 day left. The captain tried negotiating. Bumpy put the razor on the table between them. Meeting over by July 1963, every piece of Bumpy's empire was restored. No war, no bloodshed. Just fear and 1 scar at table 7. The story became Harlem legend, not because of violence, because of calculation, patience, strategic genius. Bumpy could have killed Smooth on Monday. 1 bullet, problem solved. But that creates a victim. Instead, he created a lesson. 270 witnesses. Everyone spreading the story. Old-timers still tell it 60 years later. The night Bumpy Johnson walked into Small's Paradise with a razor and reminded everyone who ran Harlem, you can lock a man up 11 years. You can steal his empire, but you can't take his throne. Not if he's a real king. That razor became legend. Bumpy carried it until he died in 1968, age 62. Ironically, at Small's Paradise, heart attack. Every person who ever saw that blade knew what it meant. Justice, patience, power. If this story moved you, hit subscribe. Drop a like if you understand real power doesn't need violence. What would you have done? Taken Genovese's offer and run with $2 million? Or stayed loyal and risked everything? Let me know in the comments. Next time, September 12th, 1958. Big Sam pulled the trigger point-blank range. The gun clicked, and Bumpy said 5 words that made the 5 families back down forever. In Harlem, respect wasn't given. It was carved at table 7.